What is going on, guys? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and today I'm bringing you a podcast that was undertaken along with fellow YouTuber Halfpint in regards to the New York Comic Con panel that dropped yesterday. Now, this was recorded immediately after the panel dropped, but unfortunately there were some things that dropped after this was recorded that we didn't get a chance to discuss. However, the majority of things that were shown at the panel were discussed, so stick around if you want to hear those. I'll also like to give a shout out to Halfpint for this discussion, and I'll leave a link down to his channel below. So without further ado, let's just dive right in.
Gameplay. So, with that first thing we got going on there, you told me something about Nero talking to Nico about having a father killed. Like, where did this come from in the panel?
Right, so the panel wasn't streamed, which I think is a big mishap, because we got a lot of information, and one of the things that wasn't recorded, unfortunately, was this opening cutscene that we see Nero and Nico talking to each other. But there have been a lot of people reporting that Nero does go ahead and say, how does it feel to be going after or rescuing the person that killed your father? And everyone's basically has took that to mean that Agnes is Nico's father, because obviously Nico comes from a long line of crazy scientists, so Agnes is the only one that seems to fit.
Right, yeah. It's we don't really know anyone else that would fit that description. I mean, Dante's not known for just being a straight up murderer. I mean, unless you watch that first scene, DevilNeverCry 4, where he kills the Pope.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But here's the weird thing, though. I can't really take that seriously because we all saw that scene of Dante killing Agnes, and it was kind of joking around. I mean, I get it. It actually happened in the story, but I mean, at the end of the day, it seems such like a silly thing to focus around that being, oh yeah, he was the man that murdered your father. He did it with excellent poetry.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. We don't exactly know the context of this, but I mean, it kind of does make sense. I mean, if we go into the leak sort of alludes to Nero having access to order documents and whatnot, so maybe Nico's after the works of her father.
It's possible. I can still see the connection between Nico and Agnes, because honestly, they do look pretty similar. I mean, facial structure. They even have the same looking teeth. I mean, minor details like that. They do look pretty similar to each other.
I mean, I haven't looked at Agnes or his dental records, but you clearly have.
No, it's just the buck teeth I notice when they talk in gameplay. It's not on purpose.
Sure.
Swear to God.
Sure.
Alright, so let's move on. Well, this next part is photo mode. Shown. Oh, shown. Oh, that's different. So they actually showed off the photo mode.
Yeah, they apparently they went on record to say that it's a versatile photo mode. You can just it's like a standard current gen game. You just hit a button, everything freezes, and you can take photos.
Right, I imagine it'd be a lot similar to the new Spider-Man game, or Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I noticed also had a photo mode where you could hit the pause button at any time. There's a photo mode you could click on, and then you could just move the camera anywhere, and you could put these weird-looking Instagram filters on there, whatever they do nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't really use photo modes. I don't know too much about that. Next, we have Kalina Ann 2 revealed. 2? That doesn't sound familiar to me. There's a second version now?
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I mean, they didn't actually show any gameplay of the Kalina Ann, but they stated that it's back, and Nico apparently makes this version of it, which, hey, it's cool. I don't know, it's unexpected, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to come through story progression, or if that might just end up being a weapon that you have to straight up buy from the store, which would be odd for DMC, but I mean, I could see something potentially happening similar to that.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Who knows? I mean, the naming is a bit weird. I'll definitely say, but
Right. My guess is if they don't do it with the weapon, they'll probably do it with something else, because they did talk about how red orbs, when you purchase skills and other sort of stuff, the purchases stay stagnant now. They don't move up every time you buy something. So it's possible that you can buy it from the beginning of the game, but it's going to be like an obnoxious price, so technically you can't even buy it till towards the end of the game.
Yeah, makes sense.
So the next weapon you have on the line is the Cerberus, as we all know from Devil May Cry 3. I actually had to ask him earlier to make sure that it was from the game. It's been a hot minute since I've played Devil May Cry 3. However, this time around, Cerberus is different. You want to go ahead and elaborate on our beautiful returning weapon?
Right, so very, very different. Of course, we see some short gameplay of Cerberus, and Dante seems to have all his old moves, so like the moveset from 3 returns. But then we get like 2 other different modes where we have Dante like interlock the head of the nunchucks and like create a staff, and that's somehow got like a fire element attached to it. Don't know how that works, but hey. And then we get like sort of like an electrified whip, and we see some gameplay of that, and it looks crazy. Like the effects in particular are just all over the place. It's wild, and again, it's a throwback to an old weapon. So I guess you get the nostalgia factor there, but then they've added in some new things to sort of entice people to use it, which is pretty cool.
That is for sure, and I do have to give a shout out to the effects team on that, because the weapons do look absolutely spectacular, and that's not me just talking out my ass. I'm being serious about that. They look great, and just from the gameplay alone, of course you're going to be familiar with it if you've played any of the Devil May Cry games before, especially the 4th game. But, I mean, though that one in particular, Cerberus, looks very reminiscent of Warframe. Like the bow staff, it looks very, very familiar. And I don't mean the way like copy and paste, but I mean like if you played Warframe before, you might feel pretty comfortable using the Cerberus. So that's very exciting for some Warframe players out there. My favorite had to have been the electric whip, and not because of the gameplay, but because every single time Dante used it, he made some weird ninja noise going, "Whoa!" Like every time he did it. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Dante's getting older, but he's still young at heart.
That is true. I mean, I don't know how much older he is since he's a demon and all, but I'm sure we'll find out more when Devil May Cry comes out.
Hopefully.
So, I don't know what this next one is that you were talking about. Cavalier Swordmaster shown? Is that just more the Cavalier gameplay with the Swordmaster style?
Yeah, we got a look at some more moves from the Cavalier, which, it's something we've seen the weapon before, but we hadn't seen these particular moves. But just because, yeah.
That's definitely true, because watching the video sent, which I'll go ahead and display on screen for you guys right now, the whole crowd was going nuts. They were just sitting there shouting and going crazy every time the combo kept going, like, oh, he's going to get... Jeez! It was great. It was fantastic screaming. Watching it.
Yeah, of course, man.
Crazy stuff. Up next was Balrog. However, there wasn't really anything new here. I mean, we've already seen plenty of it in-game itself from plenty of Dante gameplay showcases, and I still have yet to see the specific dodge move from the trailer. We saw some strafing in this new showcase, but I never saw that weird crazy dodge move.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Maybe a Swordmaster move? Or, God forbid, they somehow managed to... get Trickster involved there, but I doubt that's a Trickster move.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible... Maybe it's possible that it is Trickster and use whatever that strafe move is, but if you time it just right, like a Royal Guard move, maybe you do specific dodges, but... I mean, I've never really been a big Trickster or Royal Guard user, so I can't speak too much input on that sort of stuff.
Fair enough. I mean... Yeah, it was nothing new, but... They're completely sort of unrelated to what we got at the panel. There's been some rumors floating about that you start with Balrog and like you don't actually have to fight a boss to get a hold of it, which is weird. Don't know if you've heard that.
I haven't heard about that, but I mean, if they tried doing something like that, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, this is Hideaki were talking about, he does try doing different things per game, like shooting a pope at the beginning of the game, for instance.
Yeah, that was some quality commentary on society. Yeah. Put a bullet in
Don't
religion.
worry, I'll do a pope joke for a third time by the end of this podcast. Just you wait.
Whew.
All right, so this next one. This one has me concerned, and I'm sure it's going to have other people concerned after the microtransactions. But people were very stern on talking about how this works specifically. It's called, I don't want to pronounce it wrong, Faust hat, I mean.
Yeah, Faust, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, so the weapon works by, he wears a fedora, and he has this glowing scarf that goes around his neck. And he uses the scarf to summon abilities, and he can put hats onto other enemies. It looked like when he put the hat on the other enemy and he was still attacking it, I mean, some people guess that it turns that demon to your ally. My guess is that it probably applies it as a debuff. If you have a hat or fedora on one of your enemies, you apply like a damage debuff on them.
Potentially. I mean, we saw the enemy sort of just like freeze. It didn't really do much. So
True, but that wasn't the training mode, though.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Anything's possible. So, the concerning part, though, is the fact that the scarf, for its attacks, now use red orbs. But people were very particular talking about how when you use these red orb attacks, when you kill the enemy, you get more red orbs back. Now, again, this is the same discussion I had last time we were talking about microtransactions. As hardcore players, I think we're fine. But for anyone careless who's getting to the game for the first time, this seems like another problem for them to lose red orbs and for them needing to purchase red orbs.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely understand where you're coming from there. It's sort of strange in the way it works, but like considering that using the weapon will like, you know, have a net positive effect on the amount of red orbs you actually have. I don't really think it's going to be much of a problem. I think the bigger problem is people like who are uninformed about the game are just like, oh, it's a weapon that makes you use red orbs. Look, Capcom's pushing for you to use microtransactions. Boycott DMC5. Brick my console and never touch your game again.
Right, yeah. Hopefully that won't happen, but I know what you mean. There are some people out there that are going to straight up do that without looking into it. The meteor strike didn't look like it gave red orbs, but I can't talk there because, again, we didn't see the training enemy die. So it's possible if that meteor move would kill the demon, which I'm pretty sure it would. It looks like it did a lot of damage. It'd probably give a shit ton of orbs back.
Yeah, no doubt.
That is definitely an interesting move. I do want to see that one come out, though. I'm not going to be on the full mode of hating it, because it looks like the replacement for Lucifer, because Lucifer was kind of underrated in DevilNeverCry 4. Yeah. But it's got more style this time around, whatever you want to call it this time.
Yeah, some insane Michael Jackson or, you know, JoJo's poses going on there.
Oh, God. So this next one, Sweet Surrender.
Ooh.
I was right about one thing. It vibrates, but
God.
It's not an attack. Apparently, it's completely used for healing Nero. Is that right?
Yep.
That is interesting. That's definitely interesting. It's more of a mechanical, or I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I don't know. A utility. Thank you. It's a utility-based arm instead of just straight up different types of damage against enemies. What's your input on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they did say that none of the deluxe edition arms wouldn't be like overpowered or make the game super easy. And looking at like what we saw, it didn't seem to heal you too much. I mean, they did obviously state that if you get hit, it obviously breaks. Like the main concern, I guess, is the fact that they haven't actually said whether or not we'll be able to get the Sweet Surrender or any of the other like deluxe edition arms if we don't pre-order the deluxe edition arms or the deluxe edition of the game.
Right. I mean, I guess you can buy individually, and seeing how they're individual DLCs, they might not be in the game. But my concern is, because I don't think we saw it, what's the breakage for that arm? Because what's the point of having this healing arm if that's all it does is heal, and when you get attacked, you lose it? I mean, that seems kind of contradictory.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, maybe it acts like a potential revive. I don't know. That's reaching, but or maybe the breakage is just like a super heal.
I would say it would need to be the last arm in your roster. So after you go through a couple devil arms, you can go ahead and use Sweet Surrender to heal yourself. And I don't know, maybe the breakage ability is just breaking the arm to heal yourself more. I really don't know. It seems kind of odd overall.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But hopefully it pans out, because I do love utility-used abilities like this in games. I mean, it's nice to see stuff that's not just for attacks, right? Because that's why I play a lot of Destiny. There's a lot of different buffs and debuffs and stuff. Makes it puts a little spice into the gameplay.
Yeah, for sure.
So up next, we have Posture Breaker, which is another type of utility-based arm. According to this, it says you can use it to switch the order of the Devil Breakers.
Yeah, very, very interesting, considering a lot of the fans were sort of a bit annoyed at the fact that we can't, like, switch breakers on the fly without, like, having to break an arm, and then even then you're not able to, like, actually pick what comes next. Apparently this arm is just, like, its main purpose is to switch the order of your arms, so it's, and it's just funny that that's just been relegated to a DLC breaker.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. That's a really good point. God damn, I'm trying not to look at that negatively, but that's a really good point. So, I mean, I don't know how that's going to work in-game, though. I mean, you can change the order of, like, each arm in there, but it sounds like that would, like, almost pause the game, or, like, pause the action so you can switch that up. I guess we're going to have to wait to see some sort of gameplay or more of a discussion on specifically how that works. Maybe the panel had it, but since it wasn't live streamed, it's been kind of difficult to get that info out.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I'm assuming, like, the switching will, like, might be random, but then even then that would just be like, well, like, what's the point? You still can't switch to what you want to switch to.
Right. So this next one is Cavalier R. This is one we knew that was basically a reskin of Cavalier.
Yeah.
But apparently this one also has a new air move, which I never saw in any of these videos.
Yeah, apparently it supposedly has some sort of, like, air stinger move. But the main drawback, or, you know, offset from that, is the fact that you no longer have super armor on any of your moves. So, like, you can attempt to charge something, and you can easily just be hit out of it.
I didn't know about that.
Which is interesting. I mean, I don't know if the weapon is faster or, you know, a little stronger, but the loss of super armor seems to be, like, a major drawback.
Yeah, it seems like a heavy hitter, glass cannon sort of scenario for that weapon.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not as interested in that one as I am some of these other weapons, especially Cerberus, for example.
Yeah.
I don't see that one being too different. I mean, maybe it'll do significantly more damage than the Cavalier, or maybe it's just more versatile. It's possible it's just faster than the regular Cavalier, which, again, kind of iffy that's a DLC. But that's just something that's going to keep popping in my mind until the game comes out. I can't speak too much on that until we can actually get hands-on impressions for the game.
Yeah, until we know more.
So, the thing goes on to say that there will be no collections, or no collector's edition of the game, unless there's a high demand for one, which no doubt there will be a high demand for it. We just don't know if we're going to see it or not. It depends if... I think it's more dependent on sales. I think they're waiting on sales and not demand for it.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously people ask for collector's editions, and it's like, well, if there really was going to be one, then they'd have just, like, announced it when they announced the rest of the, like, editions at, like, TGS. But then again, at the same time, I'm kind of like, it's kind of strange, because, like, they know DMC has such a high demand, like, why not just, like, even if it's just like a Steelbook edition or anything, man, it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, we already have Capcom doing a huge advertisement campaign for DevilNeverCry ever since it's been advertised, or first shown off at E3.
Yeah.
We had the E3 trailer, we had Gamescom showing off Nero, teasing Dante, and then we see Dante. Like, this is obviously one long campaign that's been planned out for this game, because they knew that there's people anticipating for quite some time. So it is kind of odd that there is no collector's edition of the game yet, and the fact that it's supposedly Hideaki's last Devil May Cry game as well. Not to be confused with a last Devil May Cry game, because that's still up in the air for the future.
Yeah. It is fairly surprising, yeah.
The last thing to touch upon is Turbo Mode. No comment, as we heard from the panel. I don't see why Turbo Mode wouldn't come out in the game. It's kind of become a standard, but if it's not, I would honestly be surprised. But at this point, I'd be more surprised if they haven't put a custom speed in there. Like, come on. We've had it in 2 other games by now. Grant, one of them was by Ninja Theory, but why not add a custom speed there? You want to play it like 200% speed? You're not going to be able to hit anything, but you know what? Let the player do that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is rather surprising. I mean, it's, as you said, it's become a staple in the series at this point. I mean, even though obviously console players only got it when the special editions dropped, but it's strange. I mean, you'd think, but who knows? Maybe there's some sort of technical limitation, but even then, I doubt it'd be something to do with a technical limitation.
Yeah, I don't think it would be either. I mean, I don't think it'd be jarring for the eyes either, because we've played the game, we've seen the game. You can go into IGN's video of like Nero or even Dante if you want to, and speed up the video to like 1.5 speed, and then watch that. It's still 60 frames per second. It's not going to burn your eyes off. I've seen more motion sickness coming from playing Titanfall with a VR. Don't ask me how I did that, but it happened, and I got a little motion sick doing that shit.
Nice one, just threw up all over yourself. Quality.
Just threw up before you even get out of the VR helmet. God damn, no, that'd be bad news bears. But anyways, that's all we have for the panel. If you guys have more stuff, be sure to let us know in the comment section below, because I'm sure there's some stuff we didn't talk about because we actually didn't get to see the panels for ourselves. You didn't get to see the panel, did you?
God, no, I wish I did, but
okay.
Most of the information comes from RK himself, as well as like a few users on Twitter who are like live posting.
Right. Now I'm sure over time we're going to see more postings of this panel, because again, I'm surprised that it wasn't streamed or shown off, and it's not like people were under any sort of NDA to keep quiet about it. I mean, there's a guy clearly behind the Nero cosplayer recording the TV. I mean, he wasn't trying to hide it or anything. So
Yeah.
people were allowed to record there. So, there will be more stuff coming out about this, so if you want to let us know in the comment section below, go for it. Just don't get angry that, hey, you missed this! I mean, we missed a lot of things. We weren't really there. We didn't see it.
Exactly. Right, I guess that wraps up the discussion for now. I'd like to thank Halfpint for essentially sticking around and discussing this with me. Look forward to more DMC content on the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys next video.